welcome to another exciting edition of ManUp with your Kenosha Cougars. I'm your guest announcer tonight, and the voice of the Kenosha Cougars, Bill Fritsch, and with me, well, the man of jack of all trades, and you name it, the owner, general manager, and now my color analyst, Eric Daniel, joining me this afternoon. And, of course, our other special guest, one of our current players, first year, having fun out there, number 21, Howard Scott. Before we get into a little bit about some of the details about Howard Scott, how he got going in football, we got some subjects we want to get on. The last time we talked about, we left off, the Polar Plunge. What a chilly but exciting event that was, guys. And the Kenosha Cougars and the event ended up raising $2,600. And was it successful, Eric, the way you wanted it to go off without, you know, nobody getting hurt or anything like that? Everything went off pretty good?
Yeah, we had a little bit of competition going with 95 Rock. We were neck to neck throughout the last week of it, and I think it was a good friendly competition that brought everything up, and we just blew out our old top dollar raised, which was $1,600 in the past. So that was a huge success. I had to jump 3 times in that. Believe it or not, I couldn't keep my mouth shut, and kind of put me in the water a few more times than I really wanted to. But we had, I believe it was like 15 jumpers that game. Tried to get Howard Scott to go, but I think he said he had to do his hair or something like that. I don't know what it was. So
Howard, you didn't feel like jumping into that nice brisk water?
Way too cold for me. Way too cold.
A big tough guy like that plays on the defensive side, and
hey, when I take a shower, I like hot water.
But overall, though, the fans were into it. There were a lot of people there. I understand. I missed it, but chicken out. But I missed it. But hopefully next year, I'll make sure I'm in it next year. I'll jump in first.
I'll tell you what. I'll make a deal with both of you. If we make the playoffs, you both are jumping next year.
I'll jump.
What about Savino?
Okay.
I'll jump.
All right, you heard it.
All right, you heard it right here. It's all filmed.
Yep.
So
Now, from that great event,
you haven't missed one yet.
so as a whole, it was successful. Now let's talk about another huge event that's happening right now, and this is some great people that are really a pleasure of getting involved in. You and Savino had a chance to the Dayton event, and I understand they've raised a few hundred. Eric, can you talk about that and how they're joining the Kenosha Cougars and other football teams in the GFL?
Yeah, Dayton Residential Home is kind of partnered up with them over this past year. They're for former vets that have any kind of disabilities. It could be like post-traumatic syndrome. So they have nurses on hand. We wanted to team up with this event more, not just as a, help them out with typical supplies, which we are going to help a little bit with, but it's more just the events. They were all presented season passes prior to the Jefferson Scorpions game. We want to get them out to the games, free of charge. We just want to get them out and have a good time. And at the Jefferson game, which we'll get into, they had a blast at it. And the money that's been raised for that is going to go towards different kinds of entertainment that we're looking into to make sure that they, get the most out of it.
And it's a neat event, and we'll get more into that. But now let's talk about, you brought it up, Eric, the Jefferson game. And what an interesting event that was. And we were there, and what a wonderful time we had. It was just a great event. Everybody, there was a lot of smiles out there. But let's talk about, before we actually talk about the game itself, the preparations that went into the contest, including what you just mentioned about the Dayton.
Well, Nick, on the administrative end, I'm sure there's a lot more on the player side of things, but Nick from the Jefferson Scorpions and his wife, both that run that show over there, they just, we teamed up. It was a perfect team. This game that just turned into something that was, more for fun. We had that challenge prior to the season when they were still part of the GFL that we were going to play, and it was going to be in Kenosha. But we wanted to make this a much bigger event. And when I mentioned about having it as a charity game for Dayton, Nick was all about that and did some fundraising of his own. 50% of the gate proceeds went over to Dayton. So we raised a few $100s on top of what we've already raised. They also worked with getting different donations for clothing that they donated. It was a couple trunkfuls of clothing. I mean, they just did a great job, and I can't say enough about that organization. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have to take, before we go any farther, kudos to the Jefferson Scorpions. They actually let me in the press box. A lot of schools, a lot of places I go to, they don't let me in the press box. So thank you for letting me in the press box and treating me well. But no, seriously, you guys were great, and they helped us out with all the information I needed for our broadcast. And the only thing they didn't get me was the Mountain Dew. But other than that, no, thanks, guys. You were wonderful, and it was a great relationship to work with. And it was a competitive game. And let's get into that now. Before we go any farther, let's bring in Howard Scott first of all. Before we talk to you about your little bio and background, talk about the experience in the game. I mean, I thought you played really extremely well. Eric and I called you number a few times, and you made some big hits. How was it? I mean, your first game as an official Kenosha Cougar.
Well, first game as a Kenosha Cougar, I mean, it was fantastic. It was fun. I had a lot of good times with the boys out there. It was actually like, you know, a whole new atmosphere. Everyone, you know, getting along, everyone doing their assignments, reading everything well, everyone flying to the ball, and, you know, getting to that player who's going to make that tackle, who's going to intercept that ball, who's just going to be at it, who's going to be that player that everybody can count on. I mean, when out there, everyone was, you know, stepping up to the ball and, you know, just having fun. This is just the thing that having fun out there.
You never felt gashed? I mean,
honestly, I don't think I came out one play. I was having so much fun that I didn't even want to go out. I actually wanted to get out there on offense, you know, but, you know, defense, it's something new that, you know, I played defense like a cornerback, but this is a new shift over to linebacker, which, you know, means going to take a lot of hitting people, and, you know, I'm going to be bruised and battered, but it's all about, you know, taking care of your body, because after those games, it's, you know, you got to put ice on yourself. But, you know, it's just, you know, preparation in your game, you know, and how you're playing and
well, what went through your mind when you show up there? And this before the game, Eric and I were getting ready to do the broadcast. We looked down the field, and you look across the field, on the near side where our press box was located, you seen 3 teams out there, almost 59 players. Then we looked across the field, and we had 20 until, was it Kendrick Pope, his brother shows up, the Calverley showed up late, but we looked across, it was like 22 versus 59, and it didn't diminish your confidence at all?
Well, the thing is, the confidence was actually my brother, because the confidence, he was like, man, they don't know what they're getting themselves into. And I'm like, you know, I'm going to roll with that. I'm going to roll with that into the game. So, you know, once I saw my guys, and I knew what my guys had, and I see that they had a big team of, 50, we had 22 players. I was like, okay, I played 11 man. We've all played 11 man. You know, this is just a different feeling, different new vibe and everything. But, you know, we're going to roll with it. So as the game progressed, you know, we started to get into it, and then everything just got live. I mean, offense, defense, we just felt that if the defense actually did their side, we actually knew when the offense came out, we're going to get stuff done, you know, because we all believe in each other. And when everybody's, you know, doing their assignments and their jobs, everything's going to be all great, and everything's going to come out good for us. So
we got off to a quick 13-0 lead, thanks to your brother. We'll talk about him. What a job he did.
12-0.
12-0. Of course, we missed the 2-point
Then we got the safety.
Yeah, talk about that.
Got that.
Eric, talk about that. How the defense got the safety, and how the defense really played their hearts out.
Yeah, the defense was just, it was incredible. You had 4 first downs throughout the entire game. I think only 1 or 2 allowed in the 8-man. So the transition going over from 8-man to 11-man, me and you were up there just laughing because it was, you could see, especially Dave Scheika was probably one of the funniest ones, as he had 5 people rushing. In 8-man, you got 5 people rushing you. You're in a lot of trouble. Yeah. Okay, you're in panic mode, and you could see his eyes just widen, you know, as that first rush came in. Now the line did absolutely pitch perfect. It was just nice and horseshoed. It was couldn't get any better blocking than that. And then, you know, he wasn't used to it. So, but
actually the defense got 2 safeties. They didn't call the first one, but a lot of you guys were. What I liked about the defense is you were playing as one heartbeat and you were swarming. And I kept looking at them on the sidelines, and they were trying to make adjustments. Their coaching staff was trying to go over what's going on here. How can we wear these guys down? They tried different things through the air. We shut that down. We shut down their running game. I could have been more proud of a situation of a team effort than I was at. And I know it was an exhibition. Eric had to remind me a couple of times it didn't count in the record book. but to see the effort, after the week before that we had the, what do you call the scrimmage, and, you know, we didn't have a lot of our players together, and we looked really well the last scrimmage. So I was pleased there how you guys took that to another level, but really played well, and I can't emphasize the word team in this contest, Eric, and you remember I said that during the broadcast. I'll take 20 guys that want to play as a team than 58 guys that, you know, that don't play as a team. I'm not saying Jefferson played their butts off. We talked about that all game long, and there was no question about it. But Eric, I thought the defense set the tone, and the offense did what they had to do at certain points. And players that stepped up, in your mind.
Right. I mean, we had, you know, Joe Lyman. That was a huge, playing a little bit of kickoff return. You know, and he returned it, what, a good 35 yards, something like that. Of course, he had the interception return touchdown to really put the nail on the coffin on that. We had the safety. The first one, after reviewing, it was actually a great call. But I loved how the defense stepped up and really just nailed that safety. That safety was coming one way or another. They weren't going to let that one out of their grip.
Were you in that second safety?
Yeah, I was actually watching it as it progressed. You know, I was doing my assignments. You know, watching the flats and make sure, you know, no running backs would actually
drifted out.
You know, drift out and hit the flats and be open. But you know, we shut them down. We actually went out there and did.
What does that feel like when you got a team pinned in the end zone? And what is your first thought besides the
thing
safety?
is, if you're that close, I know what our linemen are thinking. We got to get that quarterback. Our linebackers, you know, our first read is actually, you know, run and then step back in our flats is pass. But, you know, before we go into our huddles and everything, we actually say, lineman, get to them. We'll worry about the rest, you know. But it turned out in the Jefferson game, it worked out real good.
So overall, we played well as a team. I'd give the MVP on the offensive side. I thought Paul Parise, another newcomer, number 11, I thought really stepped up really well. And as Eric said, Calvin Reed played well. And who am I missing? 22 played well. I mean,
we had Calvin Reed step in, going from linebacker. Of course, going into the 11-man, we were short linemen.
Right.
And then we had a couple of linemen already hurt. One with a sprained ankle, another one with a calf injury. So we had Calvin Reed step in at center, and he did just a great job at center. For somebody that hadn't really played offensive line, you're probably going to see him there quite a bit. Anthony Scott, you know, another great job. He was just, I mean, we had a blast, you know, announcing there if there was a one-on-one situation. But you got Herman that really stepped up in the first half. He was just lights out, and Paul took a little bit of time to, you know, get the rust off, but once that second half came, it was just.
Tim Chika made a couple of big catches. Dave Chika showed his team first by playing wide out, split end. He helped out in all instances you were talking about. But the funniest part, I have to tell you fans, we're up in the press box when he went from the GFL 8-man to 11-man. The first third quarter when we had to do the kickoff, starting the third quarter, it was funny. The coaching staff, 3 or 4 assistants were out there. You got to go there. You got to go there. The looks on the faces. I know, like you said though, Howard, going back to you, a lot of you guys have played 11-man, so it wasn't really a shock.
Right.
But for some of the guys that are just the custom 8-man, it was like, what, we got to play in that spot? We got to go in that spot? I mean,
it was kind of like a little bit confusing, but all through it, we all knew that there had to be 11 men out on this field, you know. But, you know, once we got lined up and we kicked that ball off, it actually came back to all of us, okay, we're playing, you know,
football.
IFL 11-man football. So, you know, as the game progressed, it started to get, you know, a lot easier and fun. I mean, that's the most thing about, you know, us this season. We're going to have a lot of fun. I can already see it.
well, that's the thing about the Kenosha Cougars. I've joined this organization a few years back, and I've broadcast, you know, I'm on Gateway Sports Web. I've done Racine Threat, Racine Raiders, but this team right here really made me feel part of the team, and I can't emphasize enough about the team. Joining Sabino Macias and Eric Daniel and the players, I mean, it's really what it's all about, and I don't mind giving everything I've got to this organization because they give back to the community, and that's another thing I really enjoy, how we get the community involved, and hopefully we'll see a lot of you fans and TV watchers at the games because there's so much going on, Eric, and you've really, every year it seems like since I've been with this team, you always up it another year. Now with TV and all the stuff that we're doing, why don't you talk a little bit more on what's coming up? Before we do that though, I got to talk about a little bit about Howard Scott real quick. Talk about yourself, Howard. What got you into football, and a little bit about your football background before we talk about some of the great things coming up at home game.
Well, a little bit about myself. I actually played for 9 years. I've been playing, semi-pro football. I was part of the IFL for like 9 years and playing with the Burlington Blue Devils. And then I joined Mid-States for like 2 years with the Lake Geneva Generals. And then I took a year off to actually do some head coaching, assistant coaching with the junior ZBs as well to help out little kids and, get a different feeling of everything and what's going on. But after that, I started to see a little bit, with going into the Cougars, Kenosha Cougars, and a lot of guys and friends that I actually play 7-on-7 football with during the off season, get me into trying to play 8-man football since I knew how to play 7-man football. But, Gary Padgett, you got Ray Ronaldo, and you got Randy. I played with all those guys 7-man. They said, you need to come and play with us now. So, I'm doing, this, and I'm about to have some fun doing it. So.
Any special recruiting that this guy next to you did, Eric, to get you to join this team?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Him and Tom.
Yeah, more on Tom on that one.
Yeah.
I can't take credit for the recruiting this year.
Yeah, it was actually Tom and Gary Padgett. Gary, I constantly stayed on the phone with. He was sending me text messages and saying, man, you need to come out, you need to come out. Anthony Scott said, you need to come out, you need to come out. And all of a sudden, 2013 come, I said, I'm playing, man. I got to play.
And that's a player we forgot to mention during the defensive side, especially in the second half. We talked about how Kendrick Polk showed up. Eric will talk about that in a second. But what a job Padgett did, clogging up the middle and took away the gap. There was no gap. There was nowhere for those guys to run. And he just caved in the middle. Oh, my goodness. I mean, from you being out there, that must have been incredible
yeah,
to see.
when Padgett is healthy and he's hitting on all cylinders, I don't think anything can stop him. He's a force to be reckoned with, and just having him out there and
one of the nicest guys. Man, yeah, one of the nicest guys that you ever meet.
Yep. But when it's football, man, we're all on the same page. Yeah, so it couldn't stress it, anymore. It's just we're all like family out there. We've been around, for a long time, and it's like we're all together now, and it's just exciting. And I think this year could actually be a Cougar year if we stay healthy. And
especially after a disappointing season we had last year, because the year before we were in the championship game, or no, it was the year before that we were in the championship game, and then we had a season of 5-5, which wasn't Cougar-like. Yeah, we had we couldn't use a lot of excuses, but we did. Injuries, and we were shorthanded, but we played football up to the capability, just what we did last Saturday. No excuses. We just went out there, lined up, and played ball.
It's the growing pains. Over the years, you look at what the Cougars have done. We went from year one, we had a good coaching staff on there. Year two, I was pretty much the coach, which I am not a coach whatsoever. Coach center, and I know nothing about plays. Nothing like that. So that was a pretty pitiful year as well. We squeaked by into the playoffs on that. Last year was another growing year. We did a lot of growth. We had a brand new coaching staff. We had Coach Verbatim before. Now we got Coach Osborne with his staff. So growing in, molding of the 8-man ball from 11-man is quite different. And as they learn what works and what doesn't work, we felt it last year. So it wasn't a very good year, but I can't say it wasn't productive. It was probably one of the most productive years that the Cougars have had in its history. We got some great talent that came onto the team. We started growing a lot more in the marketing end of things. We did a lot in the community. So it was, in that aspect, in the administrative part of it, it was probably one of our best years ever.
And real quick, going back to real fast, goals for this season. Have you put any out after that? Got a taste of a victory, even though it didn't count in the record book, but it was still a victory on the road.
Right.
And road games in any type of level football is hard to get. And you guys played extremely well. I don't want to say dominated. We can't take nothing away from the Scorpions, but I thought you guys played a great game. It was 20-0, but you did what you had to do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, our goal for this season, is just try to win every game. Take it one game at a time. Put some fans in the seats. just stay focused. I mean, everyone come to practice, you know, work hard, let's get the job done, and nothing but good things. When the playoffs hit, we'll be ready.
All right, Eric, next we're going to talk about the Pulse team. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I've had some very interesting meetings. There was a little bit of turnover on the Pulse dance team. The Pulse dance team is the only dance team in the GFL right now that has successfully launched. Hopefully we could see some other teams. I know a couple of other teams are looking into it this year. And, you know, I wish them the best of luck on that. But this year, you know, we had our struggles. We had a little bit of dropping, but I talked to Scamps Gymnastics. They have their all-star Pulse or Outlaws is what they're called. That is a competitive cheerleading squad, and they've won championships. So we're turning those 20 girls actually into the Kenosha Pulse dance team. As we grow into the adult versus the junior, it's going to be something that's going to be great. We're looking at the junior Pulse and the senior Pulse possibly going into next year. Not all the details have really been worked out. It's still kind of fresh there, but I'm very excited. In that avenue, we have some real exciting things going on into the season. This year, with me being retired, I can now concentrate completely on the team itself instead of having to worry about healing or anything like that this guy has to go through. You know, so.
But you got a hard job. You have to put up with me up in the press box. He's our new color analyst, and boy, what a lot of fun that is. How was it? Talk about that really quickly before we move on. How different was it from sitting there, from not being on the field, first of all, playing as a center, and going against monsters on the other side, going up to the press box and have to have a call the game from a different angle? I mean, how was it, kind of adjustments, and how did it feel?
Fun. You know, I was asking myself last year at the beginning of the year. I was talking to some people. I was like, how do you know when you're ready to retire? You know, what is that time? You know, I've watched my nephews play football, and I know you know exactly what I'm talking about in the junior ZBs. Yes. You're looking over there, almost have a tear jerking out of your eyes because you're not playing. And I always wondered what was going to be the time. What was I going to be feeling? And last year, you know, I had my share of injuries. And, you know, of course, when you're injured, you don't really feel like going out there. You kind of almost force yourself. And I was thinking, well, who wouldn't feel that way if you're injured? But going into this year, I just wasn't excited. You know, I was excited about the season, but I wasn't excited about getting out there and going through all of that again. And I was like, you know, this is my retirement, you know, and I'm at peace with it. So, you know, seeing from that angle, I had fun doing the color commentating. You know, when I see, you know, the team that we worked so hard putting together, you know, just team up like they did, it was, you know, it was incredible. You didn't see a bunch of guys trying to fire each other up, but you saw a bunch of guys just congratulating each other on a great play, you know, happy for each other, just playing as a unit. And that's, to me, was just, you know, huge. So I had fun with that.
And I had fun up there with you. It was a lot of fun. But let's talk real quickly here as we're closing on the time limit here. Guys, first of all, Eric, our next 3 games. We've had a little break this weekend, but our next 3 games, we got a good one on the road at the Milwaukee Sports Complex. May 10th. It's a road game, but it's not that far, fans. The Milwaukee Rage. I'd like to see you come out there and root on your team. What do you expect in that game?
Well, last year we won 42-6, if I remember correctly, or 42-7. So that was, you know, do I expect a repeat? You know, hopefully. We're going to be over in the Milwaukee Sports Complex, and, you know, I think it's going to be a fun game. The Rage have always put together a great team, you know, great sportsmanship, and, you know,
if fans want to come, what's the easiest way to get there?
You know, it's very easy. It's right off the highway, right off of Franklin Avenue, and, you know, so it's right off there. So you take 94 Franklin, take a left, and it's right there. So very easy to get to.
I understand, too, our schedule changed. We have an extra bonus, an extra home game following the Rage game. We'll be at Amici Field on the following week, which is at May 17th at home against the Storm.
Yeah, we got the Storm. That ended up being a late game. We were trying to figure out what was the best place for that, and decided on Amici between Rick Starosa and myself. And so we plan on putting together a little bit of a show at that game as well. So that'll be our first home game. It's gonna have an awkward feeling because it's kind of our first home game, but it's not really at the same time because we've been planning the entire off season for the Gladiators to be the home game.
Talk about that game, wrapping up the two games that we just talked about, but then we come home officially against the Racine Gladiators, who ended up in the GFL Bowl last year, the losing end, but they played well. That's May 24th, 7:30. That should be huge. Racine versus Kenosha, and we had a good one with them last year, right down to the wire.
We're going to have a lot of fun with that game. I've been planning on that game all season. I talked to the Gladiators owner about making that at Indian Trail. Very, very nice field. So I wanted to get some entertainment for that. That's going to be a 7:30 game. We're opening up the gates actually at about 5:15. We have the Navy Color Guard that's going to be joining us for that game, as well as the Wesley Church Choir that's going to be singing God Bless America, and a new charity that we got involved with, which is called Kids Rank. It's a the easiest way to explain it is kind of a Boy Scouts, Girl Scout mix for military kids. Kids have a hard time adapting to the military life, the constant moving, that kind of thing. So they're going to be doing a pinning ceremony, and so we still got a few things that we're working on in the halftime show, but it's going to be a game to watch. And
Eric,
it's
one other
always our
thing
game.
we have to mention, the fans, how can they get more information and actually see videos that Savino Macias has put together a great job on the website? How can they check out the website and they can actually watch films and interviews and all that good stuff? Tell them about that.
Well, you can go to Facebook, of course. We do keep that updated. If you're not able to make the game, you can keep updated. He does a pretty good job of getting that together. He also will post interviews that we'll be doing with the games. We also have, of course, our website that was very nicely done by Sabino, KenoshaCougars.com. So he'll post all that kind of stuff. Of course, you can find the standings and follow the Cougars, throughout the season with that as well.
Well, in closing, first of all, congratulations, Howard Scott, on the victory, even though it was preseason, but to me it was huge to get that taste and get us going in the right direction, and welcome to the Kenosha Cougars. You are a much-needed addition on this ball club. And Eric, for stepping in for us, I'm Bill Fritsch with our another edition of ManUp with the Kenosha Cougars. See you at the game.
Go, 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 go! Block, 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 block! Woo! Like I said!